I don't even believe that the statistic is this generous, but it's about like 1% out of every NCAA collegiate athlete that ever gets to sniff a locker room, a uniform, or any type of playing device that is at the professional level. Less than 1% of folks go pro. That's the reality in life. Those that do, it's not just about extreme talent. It's drive, it's grit, it's determination, it's dreaming. It's about doing the work in the dark of night when everyone else is eating Cheerios, sipping on, Coca-Cola and watching TV. But it's doing the things that's required for people to be great and play at the highest level. The powerful thing about sports and athletics is that the skills we learn and that are developed over the course of whatever career and however long that is, those are absolutely transferable into the next chapter of our lives. From the locker room to the boardroom, we've heard this story 1,000 times and at least 100 times here at the Podium. Today, you're going to get to hear from a good friend of mine, professional Major League Baseball pitcher. He had a good career pursuing the vision of his life on the mound, on the field, but now is living one of the most phenomenal, explosive, and beautiful careers as a serial entrepreneur. Someone whose businesses have grown about as quickly as the last 12-month rise of my beloved Bitcoin. Welcome to At the Podium. Folks, as I mentioned, I'm here with a good friend, someone I've gotten to know over the last several years of our family living here in the great state of Michigan. This guy is an absolute freight train around business, entrepreneurship, and creating success by serving people at the highest level of excellence, adding value, and solving problems. I've got this young man today. I can't even believe, I met Anthony Tomey, and I didn't even know that he had a previous chapter in the storybook of his life where he had played baseball at a professional level. But you're talking about a guy that native of Detroit, Michigan, went to Detroit Catholic Central High School. And I know my children are at Country Day. I understand. I keep getting these notes from folks saying, hey, it's not too late for Atlas to go to Detroit Catholic Central. I know that. I hear that. But just a multi-sport standout athlete, student athlete, though. And I think that's the one thing I want to point out about Anthony. Absolute student athlete, goes to Eastern, drafted out of high school to try to play Major League Ball. He's got just such a greater vision than even just sports and being a competitor and a great teammate. Today, Anthony is the CEO of the Tomey Group. And let's just stack some incredible brands. They're the third largest franchise owner of the Jimmy John's brand in the country. Chicken Guy, 8 Mile Vodka, and Born in Detroit. He didn't even know I was wearing this today. He's wearing a much better golf shirt than I'm wearing the pullover. I want that one. And he said I can have it at some point. But today, folks, we've got Anthony Tomey, the husband of Rita and the father of Anthony, Nicholas, and Luca. Anthony, we've been talking about this for 2 years, and we're finally here. It's a privilege, man.
It's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me, Manny. This is, like you said, we've talked about this for a couple of years now, and I'm really, really pumped to get this out and work with you on this.
So we had a little bit of small talk about your mom and dad.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, dude, I can get teary-eyed in 2 seconds talking about family and the significance of family. And every single time I've heard you talk about any one of the many family businesses, I hear such a familial tonality about the way you treat the key stakeholders, the other owners, the key contributors to the success of those brands. And it's all family, 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 family. And I've got to think some of that comes from your upbringing, from your parents. I know you got two incredible siblings, but I think some of that comes from your folks. Can you talk a little bit about them? Talk a little bit about your childhood.
Yeah, I mean, definitely 100% it does. We were brought up here in Detroit in the suburbs. We're Lebanese, 100% Lebanese, right? So my dad was a straight boater right off the boat from Lebanon in 1972. My mom was actually born here, but she was 100% Lebanese as well. So my dad literally came here. His whole story is crazy. $25 to his name, arrives in New York, and he knows Tomey, Detroit. Tomey, Detroit. So actually, my last name, Tomey, is not the actual spelling of what Tomey is. Tomey is Tohme. So every one of our locations, 1 through 51 of Tomey Group, is Tomey Brothers 1, 2, 3, all the way through. Tohme. Tomey Group, our actual umbrella is Tomey. So, my dad just didn't even care. He's like, just get me to Detroit. I know I can get a job there, go to school. Guy waited tables at Caucus Club and London Chop House. That's where he worked as
Christos.
Yes, that's where he worked. That's where he worked as a busboy and whatever. Eventually became a waiter while going to University of Detroit, while not speaking English and getting himself a degree and an MBA from University of Detroit. He tells us stories. I lived with cockroaches. He did all this, just one of those old school stories that you're just. The guy just grinded and was just happy, and still to this day, the happiest guy to ever be in America. Just happy to be here. Tells stories. People here don't understand what it is to be here. Go live in another country. Go live in somewhere else, and tell me why you think America is not the greatest place on earth.
Yeah.
And so he always kind of just did that. And listen, my dad worked really hard. We were never rich. We never were whatever, but my dad did well, right? Put us through Catholic school our whole lives, from kindergarten all the way through high school, and just gave us what we needed, not what we wanted. We were never those guys. And, my parents are small people. My dad's 5'6", maybe 160 pounds. My mom is 5 foot tall. I'm 6'3", 270 pounds. Negative athletic ability for my parents, literally nothing. I just learned how to play from all the kids in the neighborhood. I was just big as a kid, and I was bigger than everyone else. I was 6, playing with 10, 11, 12-year-old kids, and I could compete with them. And I learned how to play all the sports. And then my dad learned and loved sports. He never played any sport his whole life. And he just, one of those guys, he never missed one game from 7 years old until Pro Bowl. Never. Out of state. I mean, I didn't play in state from 12 years old on. I was in Florida, Georgia, Texas, Arizona, California, Ohio. His only vacations were only to take me to tournaments.
Yeah.
That's all he did his whole life. Even pro ball, playing in Grand Rapids, playing in Toledo, wherever, he was there. I'm a pitcher, right? I'd pitch one inning, or I'd start or whatever. And he would just come and stay the whole weekend and just to be there. So he's just one of those guys that I've always just admired. And to this day, I don't make a decision without asking him. Nothing. I have to ask what he thinks first before I do anything.
Yeah, that's beautiful. What an incredible story. Obviously, that really resonates with me. My parents being immigrants from Mexico, and just growing up very blue collar, but with just an abundance of faith and love, right? An abundance of faith and love. Talk to me a little bit about when you knew that you wanted to aggressively pursue sports. Most children have that moment or that year in their life or that season in their life where they're like, I'm going to be an athlete. I don't know for how long, but I'm going to be seen as an athlete. When did you know?
I think around 12. I was 12 years old, and I'm young for my grade. My parents didn't know, right? I was an August birthday, and I I could have gone either way, right? I could have been held back or gone forward. So I graduated high school at 17. I was in college at 17 years old. If I wait one more year, who knows? I might have been a first round pick. Who knows, right? At 12, I was really good at baseball. I played basketball and I played football. And the Catholic League you had to be 160 pounds in 7th and 8th grade to play. I was 6'1", 185 at 12 years old. I was just like eating people. It wasn't even like fair. So I had to go. There's Our Lady of Sorrows is where I went to school, and you had to run up and down this hill every day with all my pads on, all my sweatpants on, and I would just run 2-3 hours a day until I lost 25 pounds in 2 weeks for 2 years straight. And that's when I knew what I wanted to do, and baseball just came naturally to me because I was just, again, the biggest, kind of strongest kind of guy out there. And so I knew at that point, I didn't know where I'd go, but I knew like I wanted to play sports. I love it. I thrived off of being the guy that everyone depended on, right? I wanted the ball with, bases loaded, no one out in the last inning. Give me the ball. I wanted to be the guy at the plate to win the game. I just had that killer instinct in me, and I knew at that point I wanted to play.
When you were playing at Detroit Catholic Central, I mean, what an incredible school to have the privilege to attend.
Yes,
and play sports at, right?
It's an awesome place, man. People make fun of it, right? Like, oh, you guys are like a little cultish. You do this. I said, if you go there, you don't understand the brotherhood and the way things work.
Yeah.
I'm very heavily involved still. I'm on the board at school. I do everything at this place still to this day. I have a scholarship there.
Will the boys go there?
Oh, I think Rita's going to teach there. Rita's going to teach religion. She's going to teach religion there. The kids already have all CC stuff. They know the deal. That's 100%. There's no, I don't care if I move to Ohio, I'm going to figure out a way to get into CC, right? But yeah, they'll be going to school there for sure. But it's a special place. My best friends are still my best friends from high school, still to this day.
Yeah.
Like those guys are my guys. My roommate in college, Dave, he was my best friend in high school, roommate in college. We're still boys to this day, even though, his kid, he's coaching back at CC. We're all back.
Is he?
All of my friends. So one of my best friends, Dave was one of my best friends. He's the OC of the football team. One of my best friends, Justin Sasante, he's now the football coach. Another buddy of ours, Mitch Hancock, he's a wrestling coach, #1 wrestling school in the country, pretty much. Top hockey school, Brandon Kalinicki. Like all of our guys from my 2 or 3 years are all back. And we all just love the school. And people, again, you kind of make fun of you, like, what do you like? Who goes there? Who cares about your high school? Well,
yeah,
that's not what it is, right? But we love it, and it's just that brotherhood you have from being, it kind of molded me into who I am today. It really did.
When you look back at your time at Detroit Catholic Central, are there certain people that really stand out in your mind?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Can you unpack that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, the priests that were there, Father Menner, Father Donaher, it's something you can't do today, right? They would come up to you, and if you didn't know the answer, they'd literally punch you in the chest. They would punch you. They didn't care. Hit you with a ruler. You did something wrong, you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
We had a disciplinarian, Mr. Hayes, the big, tall guy, big, strong guy, the nicest dude ever. A bunch you left school, but when you were there, man, you were scared out of your mind of this guy. And it made you into a man. It really did. And molded these kids. You walk in the door at 300 kids, right?
Yeah.
And you leave with 250. Some kids couldn't make it. Academically, where it was very tough. Athletically, you come from a middle school, right, where you're the man, right? You're awesome. And you go to the school where everybody is a stud. We graduated, we had 43 D1 or D2 athletes from my class. We had 7 professional athletes. It doesn't happen. 5 baseball players total from our team, bunch of hockey guys. One guy played basketball, pro basketball. Like that doesn't happen, especially from a school in Michigan. Nonetheless, from a 43 guys is a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
And that just kind of weeds the guys out and pushes you. It pushed me to get better because you play against the best talent in the state, but you're literally playing at the same school with guys that are awesome. They work hard. They push you in the weight room. They push you to eat better, to do better in school. Like it's everything we did is a competition. And I take that into my business is I would love to only hire athletes if we could, right? They know how to compete. They know how to get things done. And they're just going to always push and push and push to be better.
I mean, you had a really, really special high school career. I mean, you were definitely a student athlete and you were definitely a special kid. Eastern Michigan. Tell us that story.
there wasn't social media back then, right? I graduated in 1999, which that's not that long ago, but it is kind of long. It's, it's a decent amount of time now. There's no social media. There was no advanced scouting. There was none of that, right? And they had that stigma that if you were from the North, you couldn't play baseball in the South, right? You just weren't good enough. Even though we'd go travel all over the place and we kicked the crap out of these teams, but they just didn't scout you up here, right? It just wasn't a thing. My always dream was go to Michigan or Michigan State, right? That's what it was. That's what, growing up, that's what you want to do. And those two coaches at that time were recruiting nationally. And they were bringing in like the 25th guy from Florida instead of the number one guy in Michigan, just because it made their team. I brought guys from California, Georgia, Texas, whatever, Arizona, but you got to recruit your own spot, right? And we had the three best players in the state of Michigan that year. Myself, I was number one pitcher in the state. Casey Rogowski, probably the best power hitter, and Bobby Malik, who played at Michigan State, was the number one hitter. The guy hit 700 as a senior. It was stupid. Doesn't even make sense, right? He broke Kurt Gibson's record at Michigan State in 3 years.
Unbelievable.
Great hitter. I mean, we were stacked. And you know what? The funny thing is, we brought all of us together. We all met. We all knew each other from travel ball in 7th and 8th grade. And we're all like, let's all go to CC together. Our lineup was ridiculous. We had 8 out of 9 guys over 6 foot and 6 out of 9 over 200 pounds as a baseball team. We're just big, strong, gritty guys. We lost in the state semifinals as juniors, and it just kind of pushed us, and we just killed everybody our senior year. We were 39-1, just mashed everybody, and we got a lot of looks, right? All the scouts were out there, all the schools were out there. So Eastern, Roger Coryell, God rest his soul, came to my house and just goes, "You're the best pitcher in the state of Michigan. Here's a full ride." And full rides are impossible in baseball, right? You only get 11.7 scholarships for the whole team. It's like you got a full boat. I said, like academics, just for like everything, room and board, everything's all taken care of. So at that point, you couldn't say no to that,
dream,
right? You couldn't say no to that, right? Funny story is the first letter I ever got was from Stanford. And I was like, that's my dream school. I'd love to go to Stanford and play baseball. They were on TV in the College World Series every year. And I looked at it, and my dad, and they made me a nice offer. It was still going to be like $20-some thousand a year to go there just to show up, right? They have to travel to California, do all that. And I know my dad would have done it. He would have done whatever I had to do. But I wanted him to be around for it too. I loved that he was there. My mom would always come, my brother, my sister. And the first agent I ever got a call from was, the number one agent in the world, right? My dad threw in the garbage. He didn't know who he was. That's how big of a boater he was, right? He didn't even know what was going on with that stuff. And so the recruiting process was not easy for me because I didn't know. We didn't have anyone advising us. We didn't have anyone that we knew that went through this process. And so when Roger came over and just offered me a full ride, I was like, let's go. So, and then I went to a camp after that in December, top 100 players in the country. And I had studs on my team. The number 1 and number 2 pick in the draft that year were on my team, Josh Beckett and Josh Hamilton. And I played with all those guys. And I got a bunch of offers, but I already signed. And that back in the day, once you signed, that was it.
You honor your commitments.
So I went to Eastern, and I turned down. I was drafted by the Cleveland Indians out of high school. Wanted to go. My dad goes, "No, it's no money. If they give you this much money, half of it goes to taxes. You go buy a car, you're done. That's it. Game over. Go to school.
Yeah, get an education.
Get an education. No one can take that away from you."
That's
He always told me that. He tells my kids the same thing. No one can ever take the piece of paper away from you.
Yeah.
And so that's the way I went with it.
You mentioned something else in that briefly, and I want to come back to that because that's a really powerful comment, which was you may have missed an opportunity or two because no one before you or no one in your family or intimate circle of friends and family had the experience and the awareness to maybe advise or guide you through that process.
Yep.
I'm guessing, but I don't want to guess. Is that why you're so involved? I mean, dude, I was making fun of you when you walked in a loving way, in a respectful way, right?
Yeah.
Very loving and respectful way. But I'm like, I'm never personally on social media. I know we have it, But every once in a while, I'll go into my LinkedIn or Instagram for the podcast, and you are everywhere. I'm like, you and Kristen Shione, like, how the heck are you at so many places with so much responsibility? And I think it goes a little bit to what you just inferred, which is maybe that experience has built you into a man that really wants to give back and pour into others so that they can make great decisions. Talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely part of it. 100%. I mean, yeah, I'm a yes guy. I say yes to a lot of things. And I probably should say no to a lot of things, but I don't. And everyone's like, you should get an assistant. And I would love to. It sounds like a great thing, right? But I just don't do it because I just don't feel like anyone will do it the way I do it. I know it sounds kind of like controlling and all that. I let my guys do their thing. I don't really bother them. My Adam and Corey, my top two guys, like they do everything and they don't even ask anymore. They just do it, right? They know because they've been around long enough, right?
Yeah.
I enjoy helping people out. I enjoy giving advice. I do a lot of stuff with young baseball players, and I make calls to colleges for them, and I help them out, and I do lessons and do whatever I can to help these kids out and advise. And I kind of just bring people to good people, right? I think my dad always told me this as a kid: you are who your friends are. I'm like, oh, whatever, Dad. You're that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. It's the most true statement in history, right? If you're an athlete, you're going to hang out with athletes. If you're a druggie, you're going to hang out with druggies, right? If your friends are computer guys, you're going to be a computer guy. It's the most true statement I've ever heard. And so I just try to bring good people around good people. And if you're successful people, you're going to hang around with successful people. It's just how it's going to be. And the more you bring that circle, and that's kind of always been my thing. I'm a connector. I've always been good with people, always talk to people. Thankfully, a lot of people like me. I like a lot of people, and we just bring great stuff together and good things will happen.
Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to my new friend, James Murphy, and his entire team. James is the CEO of Element. And look, gang, if you're trying to perform at your highest level, whether it's in the locker room, in the boardroom, or at your home as a parent, I got to tell you, this Element that I've been taking daily for the last several weeks, it's helping to restore health, hydration, and it's got zero sugar. And look, I know I'm on Instagram from time to time. I see who their competitors are. I don't even like the marketing and promotion they're using. This is it. If you're looking to restore health, perform at your highest level, and just overall feel great, check out Element. Check out Element. Hey, gang, I want to send a special shout out to my friend Jennifer Maxwell. You may know that name. Jennifer and Brian were the creators, founders of the Power Bar. And so for people my age, 45 plus or minus 10, gang, we know the Power Bar. Well, guess what? Jennifer has now launched a new bar. It's incredible. My entire family loves it. Samantha, Ava, Atlas. They've got vegan, gluten-free options. It's completely organic, and it's called Jam Bar. I know they use this language in describing it, but I completely agree. This thing is a complete labor of love and an instrument of spreading positivity starting in your tummy. If you want to stay healthy, you want to put something in your belly that makes a ton of sense, organic, vegan, gluten-free options, check out Jam Bar. Jennifer crushed it with this product, and we wish them a ton of success. When you think about that time, let's go back chronologically. When you think about that time between pursuing your dreams and the vision you had for your life of playing pro ball to then saying, you know what, I'm going to actually now apply this incredible degree that I have and this education that my father and my mother challenged me to make sure that I pursued. Share with our listeners what it was like, maybe some of the emotion, the conversations, who you were having those with, to talk through, is it time for me to hang up the glove and the cleats and start applying myself in the boardroom versus on the playing field?
Yeah, definitely a tough decision. I mean, obviously, since I was a kid, I wanted to play baseball. Yeah. Who doesn't, right? What person's like, man, I'll just give this up. It says it's not a good deal, right? It's a dream. You're playing it. I would do it for free. You
Yeah,
told me,
you're like
listen,
a Lebanese Bo Jackson.
exactly. Like,
And then you're like, I'm done.
there's only like 2 other Lebanese athletes that ever made it, right? In any sport, right? But it's one of those things where we bought the Jimmy John's when I was 21 years old.
Who bought it?
So my family, my dad, my uncle Tony is our partner as well. So this is a great story. So we're talking. I had just signed, right? I got a couple bucks. My dad's got a couple dollars. Tony was a landscaper. He came here in 1985 and just, bust his ass, just cutting lawns, he made a company out of it, doing okay for himself, like making decent money, just got married, just had a baby. And my dad's like, let's do something. I'm like what? Typical boater. He's like, let's get a gas station. I'm like, no gas station. We're not doing 24-hour anything. He goes, how about Subway? I said, Subway's garbage. I eat this stuff, Jimmy John's at school. Let's bring it to the suburbs. And he's like, okay. And that's how we did it. My sister was going to Michigan State.
Oh.
We ate it there.
Yeah.
Within 2 months, we bought the franchise, and we were the second person. We had opened Royal Oak, and we were the next ones to open here. We opened Novi. So I'm 21 years old. I'm playing pro ball. We open the store. I'm not there. I come back. We're struggling. I got 1 semester left at school. So I wanted to go finish my degree at Eastern and get the degree and be done, right? And I'm working every day in the store. I don't even know how to make a sandwich at this point. I just walk in the door. We were busy, started making things happen. And we just kind of went with it from there. From store 1, we were doing $6,000-$7,000 a week, like nothing. No one heard of Jimmy John's. No one heard of delivering a sandwich. Made no sense to people at that point. It's 2003. Then I started going out and giving out free food to all these businesses, cutting the sandwiches small, giving them out, sampling, and we doubled and tripled the next 6 months till I left for spring training. Even in school, I was known as the blue pants guy. I wore my Catholic Central basketball warm-ups to school every day. I was known as blue pants guy because I was just there. I had a 3.7 in college. I did well, but I just was like, that's what I did, right? And for the last project, I was 3 weeks late to school because I was playing ball still.
Yeah.
And the teacher introduced us in the business classes and was like, hey, this is Anthony. He just signed with the Tigers. Welcome into the class. So everyone knew I could care less, right? That's what they thought in their head. This guy is a jock. He doesn't care. He just signed a pro contract. And I did. I really wanted to just finish up my degree and get it done. So nobody wanted me on their team because they all thought I was sleeping in class. I was just dead tired of working at the gym. No one knew I was working at Jimmy John's all day long, getting my workouts in, coming to class, right? They didn't know that. I didn't say anything to anybody. So no one wanted me on their group. And we got a D on the first thing. I'm like, these people suck. Like, what are you guys doing? You guys, let me do something. Like, just bring pizza. I'll bring some pizza. And then they did the whole project, put my name on it, and that was it. So the next project, I go, guys, I got this. They're like, no, this is our grade. I go, let me do this. So I implemented Jimmy John's into Target. Again, I didn't tell them I own Jimmy John's at this point. Into Target. And we did this whole presentation. I showed up. No one even recognized me because I always wore a hat too. I actually had hair then. I combed my hair. I had a suit on. I presented. We kicked ass. We got an A on the project. Everyone was like, I'm really sorry. We thought you were really stupid because you were just a jock. You didn't care about anything. You're playing pro ball. I go, guys, this is what I do. I also own Jimmy John's. I brought Jimmy John's for everybody. Everyone went crazy in class.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the whole thing of like, man, I really am a business guy. I got to get this thing going. So I still played. And then at 28, I was in between. I'm on AAA. I'm in Toledo. I could have kept playing. I could have had a couple more years. My dad's like, listen, we were just opening store number 5. And my dad's like, listen, we're doing well. We're good. If you don't retire, we're done. Like, we don't need, if you're not here, we can't do this.
Can't keep scaling.
Can't keep scaling.
Right.
My sister was a teacher, right?
Yeah.
So she wasn't in the business at that point. She was and my brother was still in high school, almost in college. He just, so it was just my uncle Tony, my dad, and then me when I came home. And so once I said, okay, I'm going to shut it down. Let's blow this thing up. 2008. And then 2008 happens, right? Literally open store 5. 2 days later, the economy crashes. Everything crashes for a year. We went from 2008 from 5 stores to 18 stores in 10 years. And then we doubled the company in 2019. We bought 27 stores at once and put us to where we are today.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Off of some sandwiches.
Yeah.
Pretty nuts.
Well, and I love going back to where you started. You were like, I didn't even know how to make sandwiches, but I just got in there and got to work. So
Make it happen.
hey, so for all of you that had any one of Anthony's first 100 sandwiches that sucked, that didn't even follow the menu,
Yeah.
you can come back and ask Anthony for a free sandwich today.
You.
But since then, this dude can build a sandwich. This just explodes into the chicken guy, 8 Mile Vodka, born in Detroit.
Yeah.
Like, you're spewing creativity. And obviously we're, audit your circles, right? Like your father said.
Yeah.
Such a great lesson. My father, Papi Beto, said the same thing. My brother Alex enforced the brothers into believing it. Like, hey, you only have 4 to 5 real friends in your life.
Yeah. Choose
them wisely, right? All this creativity comes from somewhere. Because it's not like you stayed in sandwiches. You're now pouring one of the greatest vodkas in the country, recognized globally. You're outfitting us in incredible gear. It's comfortable. It fits. It's athletic. Thank you for not making like
the box.
Everything's a box fit. Like, seriously,
that. I won't do it.
Like, my shoulders are wide, but my waist is not that fat.
Yeah.
I mean, I love all that. And then to partner with Guy Fieri on a brand that I think is going to really take over the chicken market and the chicken space, a really high-end, quick, efficient, nutritious meal. Where does the creativity come from?
It's another random story. So Michael, my brother, and I we're very involved in the church.
Which, again, how much younger is Michael?
Michael's 8 years younger.
Yeah, because I don't think folks know that, right?
No, Michael's 8 years younger than me. My sister Christine is 2 years younger than 2.5 years younger.
And she looks 15 years younger than you.
Oh yeah, she looks way better, and it's just what it is. She's got great hair. I have no hair, God gives you a lot of things. He got to give you something deficiency, right?
The next time we're doing this with your siblings, just so that all 3 of you can give me your individual versions.
So Michael and I we're involved in the church. Like, and my wife is Rita's super involved.
I didn't know that about Rita.
Rita's like every day in daily mass, all this.
Yeah.
And our church, we go to a church on the east side, which is not close, obviously, like half an hour away. And it's like a melting pot of, we're Catholic Melkite. Not many of people in the area are like that. And we have a kind of an older crowd of church, right? And the older people always run everything. And we just weren't making money. We were doing fundraisers and stuff. We don't make money. So Michael and I was like, we know how to do this. My wife is like, that's what she does for the Chaldean church. And my wife's Chaldean. And so she just raises, fundraisers. These Chaldeans fundraise like crazy. I can't believe how much money these guys bring into the table. So we're like, we're going to go ahead and do this. So we planned a party, and my partner in 8 Mile and Born in Detroit, George, they own a travel agency. He's like, I'll give you a trip to Greece as the grand prize. So we're meeting him there. Another one of his buddies comes in, brings a couple autographs from Calvin Johnson, some of the Red Wings. And he's like, hey, I have this vodka company. You want to buy it? I go, sure. And it wasn't 8 Mile. It was this other vodka. We tried it. We didn't like it. But for like 2 weeks, I got to buy a vodka company. So we went out, met a couple people, met some people in the industry. And like, here's a vodka. It's really good. These people just kind of ran out of ideas, money, whatever the case. You should buy this. And we tasted it. It was delicious. The bottle looked great. It happened to be the same colors as our high school Catholic Central. So we're like, awesome, let's go ahead and buy this.
Serendipitous.
That was we got to get this because it says CC on it, right? And we bought it. All right. So we bought the vodka for nothing, pennies, right? On the bottom, it says born in Detroit. We're like, do you guys own that? He goes, yeah. So what do you want for that? He's like, this much. We're like, it's worthless. It's nothing on it. I said, okay, cool. We had an idea to make an apparel brand out of it. So we bought the vodka and the apparel brand for pennies and blew it up to what it is today. I mean, we're expanding like crazy. We just signed with the University of Michigan. We're officially licensed by Michigan now. Wayne State, Western Michigan, Oakland University. We have a deal that should be announced here in the next couple of weeks. Probably wouldn't be licensed with Ohio State. Once we get Ohio State and Michigan, you got 2 of the top 3 brands in the country besides Texas.
Yes.
In apparel sales.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't this go everywhere? So we're going to go, trademark, born in Ohio, born in wherever.
Yeah.
And We're going to be all over the place. We're going to have a place in the airport now. We're going to be having an RFP. We just won that RFP with Delaware North. We're going to have a whole Born in Detroit store in the airport. This thing's going to become something, hopefully. That's kind of where we're at. It's going to become something where we never thought. We did it kind of as a fun thing to do, and now it's become legitimate business, as the vodka. The vodka's won back-to-back best vodka in the world.
What do you think is... So first of all, you don't strike me as a vodka guy, whether you are or not.
I never was. I was never a vodka guy.
Yeah. So like, we met a couple years back, and I'm like, nah. I mean, I'd like 8 Mile Vodka. I'm like, what's he doing in the vodka business, right? I'm asking people, right? The whispers in the room. But the secret behind that success, are there a couple people? Because we've talked before about it's not the me thing. It's the we thing, right?
Sure.
Some of the most successful people in business have been excellent identifiers of talented humans.
Yep.
And then incredible empowerers and advocates of them to be their best.
Yeah.
Are there a few key people that stand out in your mind that have been a big part of that brand, the 8 Mile Vodka brand?
Yes, definitely. And I tell people this a lot. I'm no genius by any means. I'm actually not very smart at all. I just am very good with people.
That's I mean, you can bleep that out, but that's fine. I mean, he's just being humble, and that's fine.
No,
we'll let him do it.
I did okay in school and all that stuff, but I'm not some genius guy that knows how to run the business. I just have learned on the fly. I'm good with people, and people believe, and I follow through, right? I tell my employees, I'll never tell you something I can't come through with. I'll never promise you something, but I will work my butt off to make sure that you're taken care of. You're taking care. I would give my shirt off my back to somebody before I'd say, I need the shirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just that kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't ever want anyone to go against my name, right? I'm very proud of what reputation I've built and I built with my family, right? But there are definitely some key people that have helped us throughout the way. And obviously, again, my dad being one, my wife, like she is the one that is always pushing me. Like, we were pretty comfortable, right? We were doing all right. We had 18, 19 stores. No, we had 21 stores. And then we built a couple more, bought a couple more. We had 24 stores at Jimmy John's. And this guy comes and says, hey, do you want to buy the rest of my stores? It's a big ad. We doubled the company overnight. We were kind of like, I don't know. She's like, you're an idiot if you don't do this. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So she's a key influencer in making me a better person, right? Like, I was doing okay for myself before I met, Rita and all that, but she's definitely pushed me to the next level, pushed me to be a better person, a better Catholic, a better everything, right? Better father, better husband, better everything, right? So she's obviously, a key along with my dad, but there's outside people. And I've always said this to my family, my brother, my sister. I'm like, why is this guy so successful? And why is he better than we are? Why can't we do that? Who is this dude here? Who is this guy to be better than us? Like, what has he done that we can't do? And so we just started brainstorming and say, like, why can't we just do this? Let's do this. Let's do that. And then that's where Michael was watching the Guy Fieri on TV, saw the chicken guy as it was a show. And we're like, why can't we do that? Like, what's stopping us? Laziness. That's it. We're comfortable. Let's get outside our comfort level. My dad always told the same thing. Once you're here, people are going to come get you. And if you don't keep growing, don't keep getting better, then they're going to surpass you. And that's how it goes. And we did it for ourselves. We're not going to say we're saints, right? We did it for ourselves to grow our business, to, get more money. We did it for our people, our employees. They've been with us for a long time. And so there was a ceiling, right? If we didn't grow in Jimmy John's anymore and we weren't going to do anything else, then everyone was at the top, it's just there. And there's no room for growth. And so we said, you know what, let's do this for everybody. Let's give everyone a platform where they're able to grow and become executives, not making sandwiches every day, and grow this brand and grow our marketing, grow all this. And so we can get everybody to where we're at. And there was only in our whole company at one point, I think there was like 6 people with a college degree, 4 of them being my family, right? And so these are great kids working hard, maybe didn't have that advantage, didn't have that chance to go to college or finish college or whatever the case. And they're working and making themselves a name by working. And let's give them that opportunity to get above where their parents were, above a level they may have never thought was attainable to them. And that's another reason why we've moved forward with all these different brands.
I love the way that you communicate about the vision that you've had for your life, your family, the various businesses that you and your family and those people closest to you have begun to build. I've often heard, and I've heard people kind of reference it as like the darkest hour friends. Who are the people that in the toughest, most adversarial moments of your life have just always showed up for you? Can you think about a few people besides your mom and dad and your siblings that have really been there for you, and maybe describe a little bit of what do those people do? How do those people show up during tough times to help you continue to pursue this aggressive vision you have for success in business?
Yeah. Obviously, like, my wife has always been there for me, and she will always continue to be there. But like I talked about before, my best friends from high school, we're all there together, and we've always been, whether it's supporting what they're doing next. We've had several of our friends, fathers die, right? And who's there? Those same guys, those same 10, 12 guys, we all come back together. And it's like we don't skip a beat, even though all of us have busy lives. We all have kids in different sports. We're not around as much. But when it comes down to it, when something is needed, we rally together and we just bring it. And we all come back together, and we're just close, like nothing. We haven't seen each other in a year. It's like we see each other every single day. Those are my guys, man. Those guys come strong, and they always have. And, we've had some other things. Adam Targansky, he's our CEO of the company, been with it for 17 years. There's been a lot of ups and downs in business, right? The ups and downs in his life, right? And we're there for him. He's there for us. He may be the most creative guy I've ever seen. This guy, he just comes and makes drinks. Like for our vodka, we had a big tasting event. He went and made gallons of drinks, made them all by himself, did everything. I have no creativity towards that, right? He's just that kind of guy, right? He's always there. He doesn't really have any investment in these businesses besides being who he is, and how his love for us, for the family, for the business, for he takes pride in everything he does. And he's a special guy to me, especially to me, but definitely to our whole entire group at Tomey Group. He's just always there to make things happen for us. And he's a stud, absolute stud.
Where are you, when you think about business today, where are you drawing inspiration from? Are there other serial entrepreneurs or business leaders that you look to and you say, man, I draw like vision, perspective, ambition, desire from these people? Are there people in front of you that are doing it really well that you look to?
There are a lot of people you see, and I'm trying to expand, and not that I have any embarrassment by being a sandwich guy or a food guy, right?
Which I love both.
Which I love. Like I love food more than anybody. Trust me, I didn't get this skinny by not eating everything.
Food and clothes,
right?
I'm all in.
I'm all in, right? But I definitely am trying to expand our horizons. Like, we're trying to get into the real estate game, right? My brother-in-laws are studs. They're the Jonah Group. They work with Colliers. Simon and Raymond, they're studs at what they do. And I'm doing a lot of deals with them, getting involved with those guys. You look at a guy that, light years away from ever even thinking of being on his level, but like a Matt Ishbia. Guy's a stud. He's a couple years older than I am.
Yeah.
And he just bought a basketball team. Like, who doesn't want to own a professional sport, right? Who's want to own a professional team?
And then he had him play an exhibition game at his office at UWM.
Just for fun, right?
Like, let's just have the Suns in, Pontiac, Michigan for an exhibition game at the office.
Exactly. Just it's one of those things, like the guy's doing everything that everyone dreams of doing. He built his business. Listen, everyone needs that break. He's got his breaks, and boom, look where he's at now. He's the kind of guy, you would love to be like that. Will I ever get to attain that level? Probably not. But you got to strive for something, right? You got to get up there. And he's an elite of where you want to be at, right? And I take pride in the way I work, right? I'll be the first guy in, last guy out. I don't care. Like, I'll do anything. To this day, I make sandwiches. I'll deliver sandwiches. I don't care. During the pandemic, it's all we did.
Yeah.
I'm delivery driving every day, doing whatever it takes to make the business run. And that's where, he's definitely a kind of guy that you look up to and be like, man, this guy's done it, and I can follow his path and at least get to somewhere different, higher and higher and higher, and just keep going.
When you think about the way people will look back and remember the role you played in exploding the trajectory of the legacy of your family, what are the things that you want Anthony, Nicholas, and Luca's children to think about their grandfather?
Wow. Steep.
It's not Cranes.
Yeah.
And I love you, Casey Crane.
Yeah. It's, I want them to be like, that was a good man. He did everything for his family the way that he did, and he did it the right way. I didn't cheat anybody. I didn't do anything illegal. I built it from the bottom up, and that guy worked. He wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty, and he took care of people. The way I look at it, I have 700 some employees. I feed 700 families, right? I put food on the table for 700 people, and I give these people chances to accelerate their life. And people just have to have trust in me. I always tell them, just trust me, guys. If you trust me, you're going to get somewhere, because I'll make it happen.
Yeah.
I will never fail. I can't. Yeah. I won't let it happen. I know it sounds kind of cocky to say that.
No.
But it's one of those things. I just won't fail. I won't let it happen. And so I'm gonna bust my ass until I get to where I need to get that goal and make it happen. So I'd love for my grandkids to say, that guy, my grandpa worked so hard that he built to what it is. And I'm not going to give anything to my kids.
Yeah.
I want them to earn it. I don't want them to become, I got a bunch of businesses, I'm going to take it over. You're going to become something on your own. And if it falls into business and I can help you, beautiful. But that's what it's going to be. And I want them to be like, yeah, my grandpa was a great man. He worked really hard, and he gave back to a lot of people. And that's a big thing for me, is philanthropy, giving back, helping people out, and not even at huge levels, right?
Sure.
Helping sponsor little kids teams, do this, give back to the church, give back to people.
Sure.
We're very, very blessed and very lucky to be where we're at in life. And if you can't give that back, then you're not doing things right. And we do that now. I have a scholarship at Catholic Central. I have a scholarship at De La Salle, because I have friends that I'm good friends with the AD and the president, and I just feel like it's the same kid on the other side of the city, right?
That's it.
It's the same kid.
Yeah.
It's not like anything. So we have a scholarship there, and it's in my wife's name, because I want her. She wants it to be a good Catholic, strong leader and build those guys. And we always said, if we're in a position to ever give back, it helps these kids that maybe can't get in there because of financial reasons. We're going to be the people to help them out. That's a big thing for what we want to do. So I always want, more than anything, I don't care how much business we had, how much money we made. If you're not a good person, it all goes to whatever from there.
Yeah. I mean, I still remember when I met Rita, and we were at the event at the Ford property where Coach D'Antonio spoke.
Legatus, yeah.
Yeah, with the Legatus group and the incredible team at shelving.com. Shout out to those guys. They do an incredible job, but I was a guest of theirs, and that's the first time I met Rita.
Yeah.
And it was clear, right? Watching her sit up at that like front center table, right underneath Coach D'Antonio, I was like, that's Anthony's wife.
Yeah.
And Samantha was there with me as well, and it was a blessing to have her there with me. But
She's a boss,
it was
boss.
It was very, very clear in terms of the leader that leads your home and leads your family, and the impact that she probably has in every single aspect of the different businesses that you're serving today.
She does.
The boys. I love what you said about the way you want their children to remember you. I recently heard at service on a Sunday a reference about biblically what it means to be a good, if not great man, and beyond the millions of expectations that exist. But that day they were focused on the man that provides for their children's children.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it's not just the next 10, 20 years in front of us, but it's who will Ava and Atlas have as children?
Sure.
And will I have provided for them well beyond my time? And so I love the way you describe that, of how you want the boys' children to remember you. And God willing, they're going to have many. And the legacy is going to be super powerful. I want to make sure that before we wrap up, you have an opportunity to share anything that you think of that you would say, you know what? I'm in the news a good amount. I'm on social media a good amount. It's not hard to find information about me, my family, our businesses, the life we're living today. But is there something about Anthony Tomey that you would say, this is something the world should know?
Yeah. I would say more than anything, again, we're just good people. I think we give our time, and it's not about giving money. It's about giving time, right?
Yeah.
Giving your presence. People are always like, how do you have time to do all these events?
Yeah.
Do all these things? And you're always smiling. You're always happy. I said, I hate.
That's true. I have really bad days, and somehow you don't.
We do, obviously, but I'm always felt like I hate the word stress. I'll never admit that I'm ever stressed, or I hate it. I don't like that word. And people are like, why don't you never get stressed? You don't do anything like that. I said, it's just, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And I want people to be like, yeah, I love that. That guy's a good dude, man. He's a fun guy. He's always smiling. He's working. I see him making sandwiches. I see him at, 8 Mile tastings. I'm going tonight to a sipping shop for Born in Detroit. I'm out there hustling with everybody else. I don't think I'm better. I'm going to go sweep the floor. I don't care. I'll do whatever it takes to get to the next level and get everybody in. So when people want to support and go to our businesses and wear our clothes and drink our vodka, I want them to know that the owner is a good dude. They're a good family man. His whole family is good people. And then we're always gonna be around. We're never too good to to call and ask for a favor, or too good to ask for a donation for this or for that. And we're always going to be there to support everyone that supports us.
You are you're at the very front end of building something just absolutely unbelievable. It's, I've been here 6 years in the state of Michigan, and it's you have one of the most special stories. And it's no surprise hearing you just open up about your mom and dad a little bit, even before we started recording today. But it was special. And obviously your siblings, your wife, Rita, your boys, your faith, your school, sports, and everywhere that you absorb something of value to become the man that you are. Dude, you're going to write one of the most special stories, I think, of our time. especially for people who know the great state of Michigan. I'm excited to watch from the sidelines and be an enormous fan and advocate of that. It was a pleasure to be with you today.
I appreciate you having me on, my man. This has been fun. This is great. And obviously you've built an unbelievable, podium here as well. Right. So, I'm very proud of all things you've done already, and you're raising a great kids and family. And I'm honored to be here. Like, this is not you don't have anybody on this show, right? Like, this is just, it's a special just to be even invited or even thought about. So, we talked about this for a couple of years, and I'm so happy we're able to get this taken care of and sit down and break some bread and get going.
And we'll do a 2.0 sometime soon.
Let's do it.
It's good to see you, brother.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Thanks.
Hey, in this episode, I want to give a special shout out to my man, Kevin Warren, the creative genius founder and CEO of God Lifts Me. Folks, you see me wearing this a ton. Between this and Sport of Kings and Roan, those are my favorite brands. For those of you that are getting holiday gifts this year, you're going to be getting some GLM. Kevin, this was genius. I'm proud of you, brother. I can't wait to see all the success that you're going to create by spreading God's good word through this brand. And dude, this is more than a brand. I mean, this is a lifestyle, and I can't wait to see all that you're going to do. Folks, check it out. God Lifts Me.